losing streak. They beat the Kings, who are just skidding at 21-59. But the real story is what happened with 3:15 left in the game with the Kings up one. You can see it here. Doug McDermott fouled Steph Curry with the Warriors in the bonus, sending Curry to the line. It was a really strange sequence. And then it led to Draymond Green saying just something's not right here post-game. Listen.
I saw a team tonight foul Steph Curry with 3 minutes to go in the game for no reason. In the penalty. I get fined when I do wrong. Just fine the hell out of people. You know, we love taking money from players. Keep fining the teams. I've seen 2 fines. And we all know everybody tanking. But you've seen 2 fines. If it was players, we snatch that money in a heartbeat. Why isn't it the same? And we see 12 teams tanking. We've seen 2 fines. My math serves me correctly. That's 10 that ain't been fined. Just some quick math. It could be wrong, so don't judge me if it's wrong. But we're going to keep that same energy when it comes to teams, when it comes to officials, when it comes to everybody but players. We don't keep that same energy. But it's a players' league.
All right, so Draymond is referring to the fines that were given out for manipulating the integrity of the game. We remember this a couple of months ago. His math is correct. 12 minus 10 is indeed 2 fines that were handed out by the NBA. What is the solution to tanking? Is Draymond Green right here?
Well, listen, we've discussed the solutions to tanking. There's a bevy of ideas that they could come up with, and we've addressed that. As it pertains to Draymond Green's words, he's 1,000% right. He's absolutely right in pointing out what he pointed out. What did he say? He sat up there and said, we know there's tanking going on. Why is it that players are the primary ones being fined? We've even seen the commissioner, Adam Silver, basically have a press conference talking about it's something that we need to address and it's something that we intend to address. So clearly it's dissuasive measures that are being entertained in an effort to stop the tanking. And he's talking about the teams, not the players, because when it comes to tanking, it's about the teams. It's not about the players. The players are doing what they're told to do. We all know this, okay? From an organizational perspective, it's coming right on down. When you talk about player participation, player activity, sometimes it's player load management and stuff like that, and we're looking at that, and it's shameful. Sometimes it's invoked and provoked by the team. You know, your strength and conditioning coach, your medical staff. You got the coaches on camera telling us they're at the mercy of these guys. J.J. Redick, just a couple of weeks ago, sooner than that, when Luka Doncic got hurt, what did he say? He said he was examined at the time by the medical staff, and they gave the okay for him to play in the second half. We've seen other situations in Milwaukee with Doc Rivers. I'm in the middle of this. We really have no control, but I'm the one up here in front of the camera having to answer this question. But this is about Giannis and essentially the medical staff and orders coming down from up top. The game is changing. The world of analytics has taken over. You have owners who want to appear knowledgeable, and as a result, hire data analysts and people like that who speak their language to run their organizations, so they're communicating with owners and speaking their language, got the owners thinking they know just as much basketball as everybody else. And you're imposing your will upon people who are subordinates that work for you, obviously, to get them to do what they're doing. Somebody like Draymond is tacitly, if not directly, pointing this kind of stuff out and saying it's supposed to be a players' league, but there's stuff going on that the players are being influenced by and they're being ordered essentially to do, and nobody is finding these guys and nobody is talking about these guys. All anybody wants to talk about is the players. Draymond Green is right, period. I have no pushback with what he says. Floor is yours.
Wendy.
I typically opt out of Draymond Green's straw man arguments because, it's one of his techniques that he's particularly adept at. He is correct that teams get away with stuff and don't get fined, whereas players get fined on a daily, weekly, if not daily basis. That's a reasonable point. Why he's choosing to make this foul that Doug McDermott, I don't know what happened with that foul. It's a strange play. Doug McDermott is a cerebral player. He's probably going to be a coach like his father was. I don't know what happened with that play, but Draymond is correct that those fines that Adam Silver handed down and then quit fining teams who are doing things way more egregious, that absolutely is strange. I agree. I will just say that we are in a time right now where the entire NBA, and I'm talking about the league office, players themselves, coaches for sure, and the executives are just trying to get to the finish line. They're trying to whistle their way past the graveyard, because I'm telling you, night in and night out, there are things happening in games that, if you are paying attention, will have you slap your head. There is crazy stuff happening in this league outside the top teams, night to night. And if you take a point-by-point look at it, what happened with this Doug McDermott thing wouldn't rank in the top 100 of things that I've seen in the last month. So, yes, it's a problem. Yes, they got to do something about it. No, I'm not sure what they're going to do. Yes, a lot of people are guilty, and that's the way it is. And if you want to have this conversation, we can have it. But I'm going to tell you, I'm going to do largely what the rest of the league is going to do. I'm going to whistle and try to get to the playoffs, because if you spend more time analyzing this, it's going to drive you crazy. I promise you.
There are more blowouts in the NBA last weekend, more blowouts, more than 20 points in the history of the league, 80 years. More blowouts. The games were a disaster. Go watch a Bulls game on the road, losing 160-10. Here's one thing I would say about Draymond, and I didn't, the play is weird, and I'll let you guys handle the play. McDermott's a smart guy. Why would you foul there? This is the same Golden State team and the same coach who, when they came to Madison Square Garden on a Sunday about 3 weeks ago, nobody played. Nobody played. So that coach, who was a great coach, came from the Popovich rundown, who didn't play Duncan and Ginobili and Parker on national TV in Miami, and Stern fined him like you wouldn't believe. That Coach Kerr, nobody load managements more than him. And when they came to New York a couple of Sundays ago on NBC, go check a look at the lineup. Draymond didn't play. None of them played. It was a disaster. It was an embarrassment to the league. So I understand his point last night. That was terrible what the Kings did. But the Warriors are a team that can't say anything about anybody else based on what they do.
I don't know about 12 teams tanking, and Wendy, maybe you'd know better than me. It feels like 10 teams tanking, the 10 teams that are not eligible for the play-in of the playoffs.
I would say 9, but yeah.
9, 10 teams, that's one.
I'm in a 9-10 range.
Right.
I'm in a 9-10.
That's probably the more accurate situation here. But the blowouts and the tanking strategy, at some point we're going to run out of draft picks too. Like, I know we got the lottery, but beyond you just have all these teams tanking for lottery picks. Like, you used to tank for the number 1 or number 2 pick. That's what we see sometimes in the NFL. Now, we've got 9, 10 teams tanking?
Well, you got a good draft. They got a lot of good players.
Correct.
All right. We got to go. Start lineup for the Golden State Warriors against the New York Knicks at the Garden a few weeks ago, what Doggy was talking about.
Warriors Nation news. Tub Nation, let me ask you something right now. When Stephen Curry is coming off the bench, Draymond Green is furious at the league, the Kings look like they're fighting themselves, and the Warriors still find a way to walk out with the win, does that sound like a team that's done? Haha, no chance. That sounds like a team that is messy, angry, flawed, dangerous, and very much alive. And that is exactly why this Warriors win over Sacramento felt way bigger than just another regular season box score. Golden State beat the Kings 110-105 on April 7th, snapped a 4-game losing streak, and got a massive lift from Steph Curry, who scored 17 points in his second game back from a long knee absence, including 2 ridiculous 4-point plays that blew the roof off Chase Center. Reuters reported Curry also hit the game-tying 3 late and then turned his own miss into an offensive rebound and assist on Brandon Podziemski's go-ahead 3, while Dejounte Melton led the Warriors with 21 and Podziemski added 20. And come on, man, let's start with Steph, because hold on, this guy misses a huge stretch, comes back with a minute's restriction, and still walks into the game like he remembers exactly who he is. Yeah, that's the scary part for the rest of the West. It wasn't just the points, it was the feeling, the gravity, the panic, the way one Steph burst suddenly makes everybody on the floor look more dangerous. Reuters said he had 17, but that doesn't even explain the emotional swing he created. The San Francisco Chronicle noted this was his first win since returning from a 27-game absence tied to his knee issues, and even with some rust, he changed the entire temperature of the night. That is what superstars do. They don't need perfect rhythm to bend the game. But then, the game got weird, real weird, because the biggest conversation after the buzzer wasn't only Steph is back or the Warriors is still alive. It was what in the world were the Kings doing? The late intentional foul on Steph Curry while Sacramento was leading lit the basketball world on fire. Draymond Green saw it, everybody watching saw it, and he unloaded after the game. The Chronicle reported Draymond blasted the play-in system for failing to stop tanking and called for stricter penalties on teams, while SB Nation described Sacramento's late sequence as one of the clearest tanking moments you'll ever see, especially with the 2026 draft class viewed as loaded and lottery odds on the line. Haha, that's why this game went from important to explosive. And honestly, Draymond had a point, a big one, because the NBA has already shown it knows this is a problem. NBA.com reported the league fined the Jazz $500,000 and the Indiana's $100,000 earlier this year for conduct it said compromised the integrity of games. So when Draymond says, keep that same energy with teams, he's not just yelling for the cameras, he's calling out an inconsistency players can feel in real time. Oh, the Warriors are out there trying to survive, trying to get healthy, trying to scrape together a postseason push, and then they're dealing with an opponent that looks torn between competing and protecting lottery odds. That's brutal for the product, brutal for fans, and brutal for players trying to take every possession seriously. Now, here's the part Dub Nation should actually feel good about. Golden State still handled business. That matters. The Warriors have already clinched a play-in spot, and Warriors.com's postseason preview laid out that they are fighting from the bottom half of that picture, needing momentum more than anything else right now. The Chronicle added that this has been a season of instability, with Golden State rolling out its 40th different starting lineup. Read that again, 40 different starting lineups. Yeah, that is chaos. So when a team that unstable still shows enough backbone to win through controversy, through pressure, through another weird night in a season full of weird nights, that says something. It says there is still fight left in this locker room. And let's give some love to the other dudes too, because if the Warriors are going to do anything in the play-in, it cannot be Steph alone carrying a piano uphill. Reuters said Melton poured in 21, Podziemski had 20, and Charles Bassey gave them a 14-point, 12-rebound double-double. The Chronicle and other local coverage have pointed out how important Melton's bounce back has been, especially because his defense and downhill pressure complement Curry's spacing so well. That's the part people miss. Golden State doesn't need 5 stars. It needs enough real support that Steph's gravity turns into good offense instead of desperate offense. Melton attacking, Podziemski growing up fast, Bassey giving them physical minutes inside. Those things matter a lot when every game starts feeling like sudden death. Now, am I saying the Warriors suddenly look clean and polished and championship ready? Nah, I'm not lying to y'all. The same Chronicle story that praised the win also said Steve Kerr was unhappy with the sloppiness, especially the turnovers and loose stretches. And that's fair. This team still has ugly habits, still has shaky stretches, still has chemistry questions, especially with limited time to build around Kristaps Porzingis before the play-in begins. The Chronicle reported Golden State is basically running out of time to test the Curry-Porzingis pairing, which is a real concern because the team needs reps fast. But here's the other side of that. Veteran teams don't always need a month. Sometimes they need a spark. Sometimes they need one emotional jolt, one healthy superstar return, one controversial win that tightens the room and sharpens the edge. Maybe this game was that. And that is why my conclusion stays favorable to the Warriors all the way. Not because everything is solved, not because the standings are pretty, not because the play-in is some fun little adventure. No. Because Golden State still has the one thing nobody wants to deal with in a high-pressure game. Stephen Curry healthy enough to scare you, Draymond loud enough to set the emotional temperature, and a supporting cast that is finally giving signs of life. The Warriors may be in the 10 spot, they may still be battling inconsistency, they may still be running out of runway, but dead? Finished? Easy to face? Absolutely not. This team still feels like a nightmare waiting for the right night. So now I want to hear from you, Dub Nation. Did this win make you believe the Warriors can survive the play-in and become a real problem, or are you still worried the inconsistency catches up to them? Drop your take in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe to Warriors Nation News, because when the chaos gets louder, this team gets even more interesting.